Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, we simulated our very first full season, and we only had 1 point, which came in an OT loss to the Florida Panthers, who went on to win the Stanley Cup. So I would say that was a successful season in the sense that we managed to get a point against the team that won the Cup, because obviously, we could have went 0-82. We could have got a point against a team that didn't really matter, but to get a point against a team that went on to win the Stanley Cup definitely shows that our team will eventually, at some stage, win a Stanley Cup itself. Let's hope that's the case. But it was a really interesting season. We only scored 89 goals, I believe it was, as a team, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually take a look at the stats again here because I don't remember. Yeah, 89 goals in 82 games. So we were just scoring over 1 goal per game, which obviously is pretty dreadful. 89 goals in 82 games. However, Josiah Staubitz, our obviously top pick that we got last year, he had 41 points, so he was basically a factor in almost half of our goals, which is awesome. We also had guys like Trevelyan and Parks do really well on the defensive side of things, bringing some offense from the back end. Dean Perron did okay as well, 16 points in 69 games, and then Pavelski had 12 points. I'd say the players that definitely didn't do the best were our goaltenders, which obviously you could see Tamlin had good, not really good stats at all. And then the goalie that actually got us a point, which for some reason he's not showing up, probably because he got sent to the AHL. He actually had a better, he had actually had the OT loss that we had, so it was our backup goalie that got it done, and it wasn't the tower that got it done, which is interesting. So obviously a lot of work still to do with this team in getting it to being an actually good team. Hopefully we could draft some more good players in this episode to build up our forward group and defensive group a little bit more. But anyways, before we get into simulating through the offseason, getting through our first draft, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. So the first comment is from Big T, who says, "Why didn't you give a goal to Tamerlane too?" And the reason why I didn't give Tamerlane a goal is because I feel like with this team, it's probably unrealistic that he'll actually achieve a goal. Like if we gave him one to say, hey, hit like a certain amount of wins, obviously he's not going to reach it with a team this caliber. If we gave him like a goals against one or a save percentage one, I don't know what there really is for goalies, but I don't think he would be able to reach it with how this team is at the moment. But hopefully, once we actually become a good team, maybe if he's still around with the team, obviously, then we could give him some goals to achieve, and maybe he could actually become a decent goaltender, but I think that's still a little bit of a stretch. The next comment is from Joseph DM Miller, who says, "I'm from New Mexico too. Was cool to see this pop up. Hope the series does well for you." And I appreciate that, Joseph. I didn't realize you were from New Mexico either, because he's been watching my channel a while longer than the other guy that's from New Mexico. So it's kind of interesting to see people from New Mexico actually tuning into the series, just because, like I said, it kind of makes this series a little bit more interesting when there's actually people that could say, hey, hockey is not very big here, but obviously maybe it's growing or something like that. So it's kind of interesting just to kind of have like people that have firsthand experience with how New Mexico is with hockey. So the next two comments are a little bit conflicting, but the first one says hairy but whole. It says, "I don't think your face brings any value to the video. I get when people have face cam while streaming, but in this video there's no immediate interactions, so face cam just makes the video worse." And I totally disagree with that. I think since I've done face cam on videos, I think it's actually made it a little bit more engaging. I've seen, I think, a little bit more better stats in terms of people watching my video than before as well. So, and I think I like having also like those custom face cams where I add like the logo and stuff for each team in the corners. So I know you probably don't like it, but I think I will obviously keep the face cam, but I'll obviously just move it around depending on the situation that's going on in the franchise mode. Even Alex Degg says in his comment, he says, "Your face cam adds a lot to the video. Wouldn't be snipe and score without snipe and score." And it's true. I always found also that my old content without the face cam, like it just like, I don't know, it's kind of boring just seeing menus and stuff like that. You almost want to see the person that you're watching on content as well, just because then you can see my immediate reaction to say, hey, an overtime winning goal or something like that. Like, I find it's a lot better than just like kind of hearing my voice rather than seeing it. So that's why I'll probably keep the face cam, and I'll just move it around depending on what situation we're in. Also, I forgot to mention, Joseph also said, like Joseph D. Miller said, "Don't forget that you could change positions, add secondary positions and playing styles in the conversation. So you could change the power forward top pick to something else if he's the best pick." And that is true. So Despite the limitations we have about just drafting our players that we bring in, we could kind of manipulate the system and say, hey, to Ristolainen, maybe you want to try playing on the right side instead of the left side or the center side. Maybe we want to try and move this guy to being a different type of player instead of a power forward, So we could definitely manipulate the system a little bit, but obviously I think it's better to keep them the way it is. But that does make sense that we could probably still take Ristolainen, even though he's another power forward, because maybe we could try and change him into a sniper depending on what his stats are looking like when we draft him, if we do draft him, that is. And I'm not going to get through the rest of the comments. There's a lot of other comments, but some people were just saying about taking the snipers and stuff like that in a draft. Some people were saying, hey, you should still take the Finn and change his player type and position. And then there's some people that were saying that we were giving up like 50 shots a game, that type of thing, or to leave the injuries on as well. So a lot of different comments, but obviously I can't get to everything in one episode because if I just went through every single comment, I feel like this video would be way too long. So we might as well just get into this draft already. And yeah, thank you guys all for your comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support on the series so far. It's been really good. So let's keep the momentum rolling and hopefully have a good draft here to start building up this team a bit more. So you guys want me to go with the Finn. Some of you guys want me to go with the snipers. So I think we'll probably end up going with the Finn just because you guys are right. We could change his player type depending on what he's looking like, or we could obviously change his position, that type of thing. He's definitely a little bit more flexible in that sense. And then obviously he should be like definitely the better player than like say Larmour and Robertson, because he should actually have like a bit more of a physical category, because usually obviously power forwards are stronger on the puck, and then the snipers and stuff like that are a little bit more like skill driven, so they're not as like physical and all that. So I think taking Ristolainen probably would makes a lot of sense, even though he is technically another power forward and we already have one. But like I said, we could always manipulate him if he's not the best. Like, if he's not great physical wise, we could always change him over to a sniper, whatever. We could even change him, like I said, to a right winger or a left winger or something like that too. Maybe even we could change him to a defenseman. I'm joking, we're not going to do that. But a lot of different things we could do with this game at least now. So let's anyways hop into our first ever draft, and then we'll get to the re-sign stage and then free agency. We're gonna have to make a decision here because I almost forgot to mention this in last episode. I forgot about completely, or actually maybe it was in the first episode, I forgot about giving our team a cap whale. So everybody, you could see, even Staubitz is making $3.5 million at the moment. So obviously that's not great. I meant to sign myself a cap whale that was making like $15 million or something like that, but we forgot to do that completely. So hopefully we remember to do that in the upcoming off seasons and stuff like that. So that way we aren't paying our rookies and stuff like that millions of dollars right out of the gate. So got to make sure I remember to do that. But anyways, let's hop into our first ever draft officially. Technically, we had one draft already, but this is our first official draft of the 25 years you get. So we're first overall, followed by Utah and Winnipeg. I guess I can move my face down to here for this screen still like I did last time. And I can move it around if there's any like trades that hop in the bottom. But let's go to the draft class here. And I think, yeah, we're probably going to go for Risto here. Not a bad option to get yourself a nice center too. Like, worst comes to worst, we take that right wing power forward, change him into a right wing sniper instead or something like that too. So there's definitely options. We could always change Staubitz into something else as well. I don't know how the rest of this draft is going to be, to be honest, in terms of quality though. So I am a little bit worried that the next round's not going to be as good, but obviously getting ourselves another elite player is very nice. And it's good that we already have a top pick in the draft too, because a lot of the time you don't end up winning a draft lottery. So it's very nice that since we only had 1 point, we actually were able to win this time. So based on our scout rank at the moment, Kari Ristolainen is supposed to look like the second best pick, which means is Robertson the best pick? Because Larmour is supposed to be third. So that's kind of interesting, but based on the central scouting ranks, he is number 1. So I would assume Ristolainen is still the number 1 pick. Let's just take him anyways. Welcome to Albuquerque, Kari Ristolainen. 81 overall, pretty solid overall out of the gate, and no X factors, but he is already listed as a 4th liner. Let's take a look at these stats here so we can kind of see what we can maybe use him as. He looks pretty balanced. Yeah, no real weakness with him. He's good at face-offs already. His shot blocking is probably his lowest category, but he's not too bad defensively for a power forward either. So If we really wanted, we could probably change him even over to a two-way forward, but I'd probably keep him as a power forward and kind of see how he works from there. Obviously, we'll probably have him and Staubitz on different lines this season, just because that way we could kind of see who's doing what. Obviously, if you have two power forwards together, one of them is going to take a little bit of a hit offensively, so it's probably better that we split the two of them up. So that is our first pick. Let's take a look at the top 5 of this year's draft as well, just to see what went afterwards. Hopefully, we made the right call with our selection. So Larmour does go second overall to Utah. He's a sniper. He does have some X factors as well. He has All Alone and Relentless. Interesting. So there is Larmour. Winnipeg is going to take Robertson, who's also an 81. So I was leaning towards him, Robertson or Ristolainen over Larmour. And Robertson's also just the same overall. He's got better shooting. So I don't know if this was necessarily a great one. Yeah, this guy's actually not that bad. He's actually okay physically too. So they both are kind of similar players. So I definitely think we made an okay choice. Mike Robertson could have been an interesting player too, but I'm okay with having a little bit more size in our lineup, I guess. All right, let's take a look at Philly at 4. They take Frondell, who's the 78, obviously the real player. So there is Anton Frondell. And then finally, Chicago at number 5. Let me actually move my face again down here. There was apparently a trade here at the draft. We'll get to that in a second. Chicago takes Roger McQueen. Okay. 75 overall power forward. So, anyways, the trade that happened here at the draft was Alec Martinez got dealt to Pittsburgh. So, Pittsburgh's still trying to win with Sid, it seems like. So, that's interesting. Similar to real life. Let's simulate to our next round pick and see if we could find ourselves some steals here. Because, like, at this point, I don't really know what we're going to get in these later rounds. So, hopefully, we could find some solid players. I'm going to lean towards taking generated guys over real players, but I don't really know if that's a great plan either. Wasn't there a defenseman I was interviewing that I pinned? Oh, he already went. Did I have him pinned or no? Maybe I didn't pin him. Yeah, I might have forgot to pin him unless he already went. Because there was that defenseman that I was thinking was an OFD that I really wanted. I'm not too sure if he went first round or not. There's Gabriel Dag. Would have been a nice goaltender to get for sure, too, if he would have fallen to the second round. Where is that offensive defenseman? I'm talking about Radulov. Maybe he is still there. Maybe I just didn't see him. What is his name again? I'm pretty sure it was in this series, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this series. Let's just go to defenseman. Oh, yeah, there he is, Norena. Yeah, I didn't have him pinned yet. So I think we're going to go with Norena here. There is a chance he could be a medium 7, so this might not be a great draft. But yeah, I'm going to go with Kai Norena. And hope that he's a good offensive defenseman, because it would be nice to get some offense from our back end. So that's why I'm bringing him in. So there is our second Finn of the draft. And he's a 64 overall, which is not too bad for an 18-year-old. Low top 4, though, is not the greatest potential in the world, but maybe he could outgrow it. I feel like we definitely got to give him some goals, and maybe he could get a lot of good stat growth, and that could be very beneficial to him. So yeah, his shooting categories aren't really that bad for an offensive defenseman too. Looks like he could definitely produce. He's got good passing. I think he could definitely do well on this team and be one of those players that maybe outgrows that low 4 potential. So I think we're going to definitely give him some goals for next season, and probably they're going to be passing related. Because if I put him on a power play with like Staubitz, Ristolainen, you think he would definitely do well. So I like that selection a lot still, even if it's only a low 4. Let's simulate to our next pick at 67 now, see if we could find anything else. But I don't know if this draft class is really that great a quality. We are going to need to find new scouts this offseason, so that's another thing we're going to need to do. I could go for Jameson Bogosian here, because like I said, I don't really care too much about these real guys. So yeah, let's go for Jameson Bogosian. Give ourselves another center. Low 6, 62. That's not bad. And a playmaker too. Maybe another guy that could outgrow that potential. Yeah, he might be okay. If we put him on the first line next to Staubitz, and then obviously Ristolainen runs his second line, that might not be a bad idea. I don't mind Bogosian whatsoever. Maybe give him another goal, because if he's next to Staubitz, with 75 passing, you'd think he should be able to pick up a good amount of assists. So, there's Jameson Bogosian. I don't mind these picks, even if they're low potentials. Obviously, I don't know how long-term some of these guys are going to be on a roster for, but they're good little filler players for now, at least. We could take a goalie if we really want to. Emiliano Del Colli. Interesting name. And there's obviously, this guy's probably real because I've never seen that last name before. Derek Calder's already 19, so I don't really want to bring him in, even though we do need more defenders. Let's go with the goalie, maybe? Yeah, let's go with the goalie. It's another fringe starter, just gives us more depth in the system. 59 overall for Del Colli. I don't know if I should sign him yet. He is AHL eligible, so maybe I will play him in the AHL right away. But he already is better than Tamerlane, I think, which is not great if you guys want Tamerlane to stick around. But maybe we give Del Colli a chance to play in the AHL or as a backup for us this season. I honestly don't know. But I've been okay with a lot of our selections here so far. Hopefully there's a better draft class ahead, though. Oh, I was hoping that would be a guy named Ryan Reynolds, because if it was, I would have been like, this guy needs to stay on the team forever, because Deadpool, fantastic movie, if you haven't seen it yet. Jeremiah Roberts is probably real. Amari Corvo. We don't really need another goalie. What's Pritchett's first name? Anthony Pritchett from France. What the heck? Nikita McGillney. Ricardo Reynolds might be interesting just to give us more winger depth. I don't know if there's anybody that might be elite here. Let's take a look. Artem Andronov might be elite, but he's supposed to go undrafted, so we could definitely take him in the last round if we want to. Reynolds or Trevor Noonan. We don't have a lot of left wingers, to be honest. You know what? We'll go with Trevor Noonan, since we need some left wingers. Low 6 as well, 58 overall, so he's a bit lower for an overall, but he does have some potential, but a lot of these low guys never reach it. But I'm just hoping that maybe we could take some guys that aren't looking the best and grow them because of the goals and all that we could give them. So there is the 5th rounder. We'll submit to our 6th round now and see if we could snag anything else up here. And we got one more selection left in this draft. I think it's been an okay draft. Pavel Malkin, low 6 power forward. That seems interesting to me. Even though he's 5 years out, we can maybe outgrow this guy's potential too. And then there's Aegon, who's probably not an elite goaltender. If he is, he's probably a very low overall. Let's go with Pavel Malkin here. Sure. We're loading up on our forward core, so there's another low 6. 51 overall is pretty bad. But I'm really hoping that, like I said, I could get some guys to just somehow way outperform themselves. And our last pick of the draft, is there anybody interesting? Joaquin David, another offensive defenseman that might be medium 6. That's interesting, playing in Finland. Joaquin David from Denmark. I already know that like some people are going to be pissed off on these generated names. Sergei Kolosov. What's that goalie's name? Cooper Anderson. He's got to be a real guy. Somebody's hammering something outside. I don't know why. But anyways, yeah, let's go for Joaquin David. If he's a medium 6 offensive defenseman, once again gives us more guys that could give us points from the back end, which is not a bad idea. So Joaquin, welcome aboard. He's a 51 overall, medium 7th. He is an offensive defenseman, but wasn't a medium 6. Maybe he could still outgrow his potential, but there is Joaquin. Gotta love a Joaquin on the team. So there's our draft. I wouldn't say a great draft by any stretch, but maybe, like I said, we could get some guys to be better than they actually are. So we get Ristolainen, Norena, Bogosian, Del Colli, Noonan, Malkin, and Joaquin David. Just a bunch of random characters. I'm going to be interested to see what those guys look like in terms of their faces when we get to the start of the season. But let's advance today. We got the re-sign stage, obviously, now. And we will obviously be paying everybody the money that they need, unless they're trying to get too much money. We do not have any UFAs. We have a bunch of RFAs, which are just guys that are filling up our roster at the moment. So we'll just qualify all these guys, just because I think that will be a little bit easier, obviously. And we will need to probably sign ourselves some cap whales. Actually, I should probably let go of some people to make room for roster players, because, yeah, I probably should. Because all these guys need to be jumping in. So we need Ristolainen. I'll offer you your rookie there. That's good. Norena. You're obviously going to get your deal already, too. Bogosian. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try and let go of a lot of those random filler players, because obviously we want to bring in our players first and foremost. So Bogosian's been offered. Noonan. Let me offer you your contracts. Some of them are getting back to me tonight about their ELC, which is kind of funny. You think they would immediately accept? Let's just get everybody signed at this point because they're all like AHL eligible at least, I think. So some of them will be in the NHL for sure. And then Del Coley, we might as well sign you up as well. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so if we go to RFA, let's let go of some of these guys. Oh man, Antti Roikko is back. If you guys remember my draft to glory last year, I think this guy was a filler player for my team back in those days because I remember saying I'd not finished, but I think it's pronounced Antti Roikko, and I think this is the dude again. So that's kind of hilarious. We're gonna just let go of a lot of these filler players for now, and that way we know that we have the space for them. Shane Bowers as well obviously needs to go too, so I'll let them all go. And then these two goalies, obviously we're going to let go of one of the goalies. We'll sign Crespin, so that way we have at least two goalies in the system. Boom. Take the money. And that should be good. So all those unsigned guys should accept their ELCs, so let's advance today, see if they accept. There you go. Thrilled to join the team. Perfect. Okay, so we're at 47 out of 50 contracts. We got all the guys we want. We do still need some cap whales, I believe. Yeah, we need at least 2 cap whales. I think. Yeah, we'll sign 2 cap whales to $15 million deals. I know some of you guys don't like cap whales and stuff like that, but it's what you have to do in a draft to glory at the beginning at least. So let's simulate to free agency, and then we'll get to that. So some of the RFAs are accepting, which makes sense. All right, so free agency, and we also need to sign ourselves the scouts this offseason as well. So let's sign ourselves some cap whales. So we'll sign 1 defenseman cap whale and 1 forward. So our Tukin's probably looking for an ELC. We're looking for somebody that wouldn't want an ELC. Somebody that says 1 year. Maybe these guys that want 2 years are okay. Let me just see. Can I give you a one-way deal? Yeah, I can. Okay, good. Oh, I don't want to give you a 7-year deal. So we'll give you a 1-year deal at 18.7 M. That's a lot of money I could give to Erola. So enjoy the money there, boy. Enjoy the money. He's probably like, what the hell is this guy giving me $18.7 million for? But just to make us a little bit more cap float. And we'll also do one for Lambacher. I believe his name is Alex. Yeah, that's thought. So I don't even know how I know that. Probably from doing roster editing and all that. But let's get Lambacher a little bit down more. Let's get him to like 12 million. And then that should be good in terms of making us cap compliant for the season. Yep, perfect. I think that should be good. Let me just go to proposed trade, even though we don't make trades obviously in the series, so that I can see how close we are to the cap floor. We're over the cap floor. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's all good. The next thing we need to do is to find ourselves some new scouts. So if we go to coaching staff and go over to our scouts, we actually have some A-rated scouts. That's not bad. But obviously I would like to replace a bunch of these like terrible ones. Let me go to higher scouts and see if there's anybody that's actually good here in terms of rating or overall. There's a couple Bs. All right. So we'll sign you, Shea Weber. I didn't even realize that was Shea Weber. That's funny. So Shea Weber became a scout. I'll sign you. Corey Perry. Yep, Corey Perry as well. Might as well bring in some former NHLers. We might be able to use some of the C's. So there's 4 scouts offered. Let me take a look at the ratings here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 C minuses. So we could replace these 2 C minuses as well. So let's get rid of this 2 C minuses. So we're going to need 2 more offers out. And then obviously we're going to reassign everybody around. Obviously we could replace some of these guys next offseason as well. But we're just trying to make our scouts a little bit better each year if possible. So we will sign ourselves, based on rating, we're going to sign ourselves 2 more C-rated scouts. Victoria Kron, welcome aboard. And Vili Kempinen, something like that. There you go. And then obviously I'll readjust this in terms of where they're actually located at the start of the season. So that should be good in terms of the scouts. Coaches obviously doesn't matter yet, so I'm going to keep that the same. I think we're probably ready to start simulating up to next season already. Trying to think if there's anything else that we need to do. I don't think so. All right, so let's begin the sim up to next season and see if those scouts accept, which they probably should. We'll reassign them. We'll get our lineup set up for the season. and take a look at what our new guys look like on the team in terms of their faces, because obviously that's a fun thing to do, is just kind of see what the game decided to generate for them. So obviously that's what we're going to do once we get to that point. But I think it's going to be an interesting season, I think, because obviously our forward group's starting to come along. Defense is still up in the air. Goaltending obviously still up in the air a bit, but I think our forward group is starting to develop nicely a little bit. So very excited for that. We do still have an RFA that's trying to hold out, which is kind of funny. Let me try and go back and sign him just to fill out our roster a little bit more. Not that we need him probably, but I don't know why he's still holding out. Okay, there we go. We just offer him the two-way deal. Perfect. Boom. Easy as that. Easy as that. Okay, continue to simulate. A little bit of a slow menu right now. I know some of you guys were mentioning is the menu slow, and I find them a little bit slow, but I'm not really going to complain too much because I really like a lot of the new features, but obviously I hope that they kind of optimize the game a little bit better. So let's go done here, and I'm going to make a quick cut and reassign all the scouts, and then we're going to get our lineup set up. Okay guys, so all the scouts are reassigned. So we have 1 in Russia, 2 in Finland, 1 in Sweden, 1 in Czechia, 1 in Switzerland, 1 in Germany. We have 1 in USA East, 2 in USA Central, 2 in USA West, 2 in each of the CHL leagues. I can hire 2 more scouts, so I actually might just do that here. So that way we have basically 2 scouts also in USA East, and then we'd also probably double up in Russia. That's probably what I'm leaning towards. So let's get Tebow to accept here, and also Long, and then we'll move them over in a second. I'll probably advance today already just so I could get them signed up here, because they probably should accept right away, right? We got to talk to our coach first, apparently. So Sean Lawson, what do you want? Season goal. Season goal. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. Obviously, we cannot make the playoffs yet. So, yeah, I'll let him get the job done on that. In terms of the preseason, what should we focus on for the preseason? Conditioning, strength training, skill training. Let's look on skill training. I think that might be an okay thing. So that way we get basically... Actually, 5v5 focus might be a good idea. Yeah. So that way we could focus our even strength play, because obviously our power play wasn't the worst in the league last season. So, yeah, let's do 5v5 focused. And we'll see what that ends up helping our team out, if it does. All right, perfect. We're still waiting on those scouts. Will they accept, please? Thank you. There's Jacques Thibault. And just waiting on one more, which is the other one, Holden Long. Okay. So now we'll reassign those scouts as well. It's kind of funny because since Corey Perry's one of our scouts, I assigned him to the USA West just because I feel like that would make the most sense for him. So Thibault, you're going to get moved over to the United States of America. You're going to be going to USA East because it's good to kind of double up in the States, I feel like, at times. So we'll put him in USA East. And then we will also take Holden Long and change him over to Russia as well. I could put him in Sweden. I don't know if it's better to double up in Sweden or Russia. Let's see. SHL has 41-32-4. What about Russia? 47-28-8. You know what? We're going to go to Russia for this one. I normally double up in Swedish, I think, but... And then I don't usually scout the NLA, but I'm going to do that for the beginning of the series a little bit, just so we can kind of get a better understanding of every league. All right, so let's get our lineup set up for the season and see what we're working with. And then obviously we'll take a look at what everybody new on this team is looking like in terms of their faces. I should probably look at some of the guys that have been here last season as well, but let's do some roster moves here and see who needs to actually still be called up. So they're saying to run Del Cole and Shipley in the NHL and to send Tamerlan down. We got to call Tamerlan up as the backup. Even though Shipley picked up the first point in franchise history, we are going to call Tamerlan up. He will be the backup, but I could technically send Del Cole down. And then Tamerlan would still be the starter. But I think giving Del Cole a chance is okay. So Tamerlan will be the backup this season. Defensively, got 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anybody to call up? Yeah, Joaquin David's the only one that got called up, I guess. So call him up. We will send down Arola. Sorry about the saw noises in the background. I don't know who's deciding to do stuff like this during the middle of the day, but so 6 defensemen. Obviously, we could use a depth defenseman, but I'll call somebody up if there's an injury. No problems there. Anybody to call up on the right side? Malkin. Malkin can come up. And we'll send down probably Dezote. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's good. In terms of left wingers, anybody to call up? Nope. Nobody had drafted there. Centers, there is... Was Wiggle one we drafted? I feel like he was. No, he wasn't. Okay, he was just a filler player. McPhee wasn't drafted by us. I'm trying to remember who I drafted. A lot of these players I do not remember for sure. Yeah, I don't think I drafted any of these guys. Yeah, I think that should be good. Okay, so let's get our lineup set up now and see what we're working with. So obviously, like I said, I might want to split up the two power forwards. So let's go with Bogosian, Staubitz, and Noonan's a what type of player? Two-way. Let's go with that, sure. And then Perron can play with Ristolainen. We need to take out some of these random filler players as well. If there's anybody I could replace them with, which doesn't seem to be the case. Malkin needs to be in for sure. I might want to get Malkin onto... Is Malkin a left-handed shot or right-handed? I think he's a righty, right? He is a righty, okay. Let's just get him in instead of Maki Haho or whatever his name is. Maki Haho? Yeah, I don't know. Malkin on that third line is a good idea. We could put him into the top six, but he would have to play on his opposite wing, which I don't really like too much. So, yeah, that's what I think we should run. Malkin's got low six potential. Perron's only got low six as well. We'll go with that. That's okay. Defensively, Norena, Trevelyan. Parks was good with Trevelyan year, but I want Norena up there for sure. But Trevelyan's a good offensive defenseman, kind of, or two-way. So maybe having a good DFD next to him would be a bad idea. I don't know. Let's get Joaquin David up a little bit. So we almost have an actual full defensive core of our prospects. We have 5 defensive prospects. And then we have 3, 4, 5, 6 offensive prospects. And of course, multiple goalie prospects. Not bad. Not too bad. And then in the AHL, obviously, we don't have any prospects, so I don't really care too much about the AHL setup. So there is our lineup for the season. Actually, I should maybe adjust our power play as well. I'll leave that off camera and do that off camera. But anyways, we want to take a look at all these new players and their faces. So let's go on over to Edit Player and see what our new players on our team are looking like in this next season. So starting off with Kari Ristolainen. Let me just remove my face from the screen so you guys can see a bit more depth. What is Kari Ristolainen, our first overall pick, looking like? Alright, pretty basic. I wouldn't say anything crazy. Yeah, pretty basic. Look, what number is he wearing? 42. Okay, so we have a 40 and a 42. I don't mind that. I wish there was a way that I could get to zoom in on his face a little bit more, because obviously I want to kind of use him on a thumbnail, but I don't know if I will. So there is Kari Ristolainen. It'll be interesting to see how he does compared to Staubitz. Then we also have Jamison Bogosian, who was obviously the third-round selection. I think he's going to have a good year. And I think obviously we'll give him some goals in the next episode for assists, because obviously playing next to Staubitz, I think he could do well. So this is Jamison Bogosian. Very basic look. He has the lamb chops, though, which is awesome. So he is definitely a little bit older than he looks. He's not 18 years old. Like, what 18-year-old do you know that has lamb chops? But still, that's awesome that he has degenerated lamb chops, because obviously that's a new facial hair in the game this year. So, kind of cool. Basic look for the most part, though. So there is Bogosian. What number is he wearing, too? Number 6. Must be related to Zach Bogosian or something. So there is our 2 centers. Then we have Trevor Noonan, who's a little bit of an overager, but he was a 5th-round selection that we got this year. Let's take a look at Mr. Noonan. See if he's got any crazy facial details, which does not seem to be the case. He looks pretty basic as well. Yeah, pretty basic. In terms of beard, he just got a partial beard. Yeah. Typical ginger. What number is he wearing? 24. 24, not bad. And then after him, we have nobody else on the left side. We guess we just got to go to Malkin on offense. I actually should take a look at Perron, too, while we're at it, since we didn't take a look at him last year. Might as well show you guys what Dean Perron looks like, considering he's going to be here for a while, at least, at this point. So this is Dean Perron. He's got a green stick, which looks nice with our jerseys. I like that. So there is Dean. Pretty basic look. Rocking the number 61. Not a bad number either. I kind of like when players have higher up numbers than like number 6. Like number 6 for a forward's kind of weird, but oh well. Pavel Malkin. Maybe he's the hybrid between Pavel Bure and Evgeny Malkin. We'll find out, I guess, but I don't think he's going to be a crazy good player, but let's see what he looks like. Okay, so this is what he looks like. Oh, he's got the Wildman beard? Hey, yo. I don't think I've ever seen a black guy with a Wildman beard in franchise mode, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So how long does this thing get? Playoff beard max. Oh, it doesn't get super long. If it got all the way to number 1, that'd be insane, but it just gets to a basic length. I would have loved to seen it get to like Brent Burns style. It'd be pretty funny. Okay, so there's Pavel Malkin. In terms of defense, we have obviously Kai Narena, who I'm expecting big things from. I'm going to put him for sure on the power play this season. But I'm expecting some good stuff from him in terms of the offense, hopefully. He is looking pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah, probably one of the cooler looks we've seen so far. He's got the nice new hair. Oh boy. Look at that hair. That's amazing. Good lettuce. Good lettuce. So he looks kind of neat. I really hope he could do well, because if we give him a goal of 20 assists, I think he could definitely do it since Trevelyan did it last year. So I think we'll definitely lean towards doing something like that. We actually didn't take a look at Trevelyan last year in Spike Parks and all that, so we'll do that here too. I know this makes this episode a little bit longer, but I know you guys probably want to put faces to these players. So here's Trevelyan. Oh man, he actually has the fro. And also has... oh my god, that's probably one of the funniest looks so far we've seen. The mustache just, I don't know. Oh my goodness. That is a man. That is a man. This guy does not care what anybody else thinks. Just grows out that hair, and then he just grows a really weird little beard mustache thing. Oh my god. How far does it... Oh, it gets all the way to the line. Most craziest length too. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, this guy's definitely one of those guys you would find that's living out in the middle of nowhere. Like in the middle of a forest, in a hut or something. That's that dude. Goddamn, his nickname should be like the Wild Man. Goddamn Matt Trevelyan. What about Spike Parks? He's got a cool name. He's got to have a cool look, right? At least I would hope so. Come on, Spike. Give me something cool. Let's see. What about hair? It's not too bad. It's a pretty basic look for a guy with the name Spike, but he still looks pretty cool. And what number is he wearing? 47. At least that's what his default number is. He's got red laces. So it looks like he's ready for Christmas at this point with the red and green. But there is Spike Parks. Then we also have Pavelski and Walking David. And then we have the goalies to look at as well. So I know the screens are so long in terms of loading these players up, but it is what it is. Bryce Pavelski. Nice tilted visor. Very basic look. No facial hair. And he has barely any hair on his head. This guy's the male version, or the older version of Caillou. That's what he looks like. So shout out to Bryce, number 60. Alright. And then we head to Joaquin David. With the name with Joaquin, you think he would be cool looking, but honestly, no idea. Joaquin David might get a power play chance this season since he's an OFD as well. Pretty basic look. What about hair? A little bit spiky hair. He does also have lamb chops, though, which is nice. So we have a couple guys with lamb chops on the team. How long does his lamb chops get? It doesn't get very long. That kind of sucks. So there is Joaquin David. And then we'll head to the goaltenders. I feel like Tamerlan probably just has a generic face, so it doesn't really matter about him. But Emiliano Del Colli is another generated guy, so we'll take a look at his face. So what is Del Colli looking like? Emiliano Del Colli. Oh yeah, of course we have to adjust the goalie pads on all our goalies because they still have that black pad stuff and gear. Let's see. So it looks pretty basic as well. So there's Emiliano Del Colli. You think this guy's like Italian or something like that. But yeah, we got to customize one of the goalies' gear. Like for the beginning, we'll probably leave them black. But obviously, once we have our number 1 starter, we'll definitely make some cool designs with the color scheme we have for our jerseys, I think, going forward. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, obviously, we'll simulate through year number 2. Like I said, I'll make some power play adjustments off camera, and I'll show you guys those in the next episode. But obviously, we'll simulate the rest of year 2. We'll see how good this team does by comparison to year 1. Hopefully, maybe we can get our first win in franchise history. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. But obviously, we're hoping just for more good draft lottery luck and more good prospects for our team. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.